Good morning, everybody. Bryce. This is what I got going on today. Another day of no Bryce. I told you very nicely, okay? Yeah, I know. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bryce. Guys, let me just tell you something. Talk about figure it out. Okay. They had no school Monday. They had no school on Wednesday. They had a half a day on Thursday and no school on Friday. My dad's old school. Okay, he's old school. All right. So I told him this, and my dad's like, and this is why we're ranked number 37 in the world on education. Our kids don't go to school. I'm like, Dad, trust me, I'm not disagreeing with that. I can't just drop the kids off at school, Dad. I don't know what you want me to do. But boy, oh boy, let me just tell you, it is a balancing act for sure. But we're gonna make it. I told the team, I was like, all right, I got the kids again, so all hands on deck. I actually was able to get my microphone going. So that was a little prep. That's a win for me, Preston. It's a win for me. So good morning, everybody. Happy Figure It Out Friday. And man, this is our first time. I'm really, really excited about today's show. We got to get the Facebook up and running because they get mad at me. They're my Facebook peep. Gotta say good morning to Facebook peep. What's up, Chastity? What's going on, Laura? Good morning to you, Michelle. Good morning to you, John Hart. Good morning to you, Mr. Paul. Latrice. Latrice is driving. Latrice is driving. Bethany, I know it's cold, but man, you make it look like it's really cold wherever you're at over there. I'm like, it is just chilly over there. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Coach Brock Zevan. I'm a business coach, a real estate coach, a life coach, a DAD, and it has been a DAD for you. What's up, Justine? Good morning to you. What's up, David? A lot of people in the Facebook world. Good morning to you all. What's up, Alicia? Paul? Look at that, everybody. Happy Wendy. Good morning to you, Mr. Kastner. Saying good morning to everybody out there. Say good morning in the chat. Say good morning in the chat because I know Preston likes good mornings. Preston loves good mornings. Oh, he gets very,
I
very
do.
excited.
I do.
I knew you would, Preston. I knew you would. So, guys, Preston is actually we're gonna go back a little bit. Bryce says, "Kiss me." All right,
It's
thanks.
me.
Kiss. All right, bud. Thank you. Oh, guys, we're just gonna have to figure this out today. Bryce, I've asked you nicely. You almost spilled my coffee, which would have been a huge disaster. So Preston, I started Figured Out Friday. Preston and I went to lunch, and I've known Preston for many years. He runs a solid home insurance, not warranty, home inspection company, and I've known him for a long period of time. And him and I have had a lot of conversations, and we went to lunch, and this is how it all started. This Figured Out Friday because he was telling me a little bit about himself and some of the situations that he had. I was like, man, I've been thinking about this podcast, Figure It Out Fridays and I love for you to be a guest on it. At the time, I'll remember we talk about ideas and thoughts, right? We're figuring out things in our head. We're not too sure. This was just one of those things. I was just like, I'm not really too sure about this Figured Out Friday. Actually, Preston, you don't know this, but I was like a little nervous bringing you on. He's very big into the in our Charlotte area market. Like I said, he runs a very successful home inspection company. I'm like, here I am bringing this guy on. I'm like, he does a lot of stuff online. And I'm just like, damn, all right. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. And I had an idea. This is how ideas come into play, but it failed forward, right? So Prestonall was my first Figured Out Friday guest. Go figure our
Woo.
yeah, man. Here's our first Figured Out Friday guest. And so him and I met around Thanksgiving. We were doing some Friendsgiving thing, and I saw him. I said, you know what? I need to bring you back. I like to bring on some of the people that been on the show to begin with. Preston in his first segment talked about this $1 million lawsuit that he was dealing with. Okay, you be in this business long enough, you'll get some lawsuits on you. It's just part of business. And him and I were exchanging some of our lawsuit stories. But he really shared with us of where his mindset was, some depression issues, some suicide thoughts, some things that just like, how can I throw the towel in on this? Like, how can I just like be done with it? Put a 7 in the chat. Not to say you had suicide thoughts or anything that crazy, because I mean it is there. But how many of you had some thoughts of throwing the towel in? How many of you really like I've had suicide thoughts. Like I was just like, you know what, I just can't keep going on. My drinking was terrible, my finances were terrible. There was just no way out. And I saw a tree and I said, man, if I could just do this right here, I think this could be like my answer. Like how many of you put a seven in the chat have thought about sometimes just throwing the towel in? I thought about going back to being a school teacher all. I thought about going back to school because this job is just too hard to show up every single day and to do it. I was like, you know what? I could just go be a principal. I can make my $100,000 a year, and here you go. And some people might be like, you know what? That sounds great. But guess what? I'm attached. I'm a W-2 employee. I have no flexibility with my kids. I got no flexibility at all. And I'm attached to the state now. And so I asked Preston, I said, Preston, I'd like to bring you back on. I like to bring you back on because I got to believe in the last probably 16 to 18 months, you've been figuring out some things. You've been having to figure out some business. I know Preston well, so I'm trying to set the stage all like Preston's not one of those people. Yep, I made it. All right, I'm just gonna kick back, hun. I'm just gonna be at the pool today and just gonna lay around. If anybody needs anything from me, just let me know. Oh, you want me to do an event? Nah, I'm just gonna just chill. I'm not gonna be out in public. I'm not gonna go to these events. I'm just going to go hang out with my daughters. They're both in college, which is a transition in itself that you've been through. So that's what we're going to dive into also. I want to set the stage on who this guest is. He's somebody that's been on here. He's been through the ringer. He's been through some challenging times. He shared and poured into us last time he was on here. And now I want to bring him back on to share what he's been struggling with, what he's been trying to figure out, his transition with his kids and his daughters. He's a great dad, a great husband, and I see all this. I'm going to tell you how to follow him on Facebook. Go look him up. We're going to have all his contact information. But without further ado, put some love in the chat. Put some fives in the chat. Put a high five, a virtual high five. Give some warm welcome. Put some hearts on there. Welcome our main man, Mr. Preston Sadlin. Good morning, brother.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, and thank you for having me again. I guess I'm the first repeat offender.
Yeah, you are. You get to have. I mean, might as well. You get to earn both stripes of the first time we do it and the first repeater. So good morning to you, man. Now tell us a little bit. Give us like the 30-second overview, Preston, of, I kind of gave a little bit of some sugar there, but tell us a little bit about you, where you're at, what you got going on, is so people can get to know you because we got a lot of new people on here from last time you were on.
Sure, sure. Well, first of all, let me just say I love the title of your podcast, the principle of it, figure it out, because that's what it's all about. I mean, I always say in my company, if you want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't want to do something, you'll find an excuse. So, and that's why I have a very low tolerance for excuses. For myself and for other people. It's like, don't tell me all the reasons you can't do something. Just figure it out.
Yep.
There's a way. There's a way. I always look at it. I'm like, man, I mean, you're smart enough. God gave you everything you need to the tools you need. You just got to figure it out. But
Amen.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've built our company. I don't like to brag or anything, but I mean, we've got, I think 27 inspectors, and we're bumping right around 3.8 million. I mean, gross. And that all from a one man shop, starting out. And I
That's
hope I'm
awesome,
not
man.
coming.
That's nothing. No, that's,
Uh,
I mean, that's a win. In our entrepreneurship world, there's a difference between arrogance and confidence and growing. And that's what it is. It's growing in reference to what you have. When I tell people I did 83 contract transactions last year myself, like that's not bragging. It's just giving credibility to what you're doing. Like, damn, that's really good. This person knows what they're doing. They know how to build a business. They understand. They've been through more. And we say many times, all like, there's a lot more figuring out than there is success stories.
yeah, 100%. But at the same time, there's always that be grateful, gratitude, but also be hungry. Sometimes I struggle with that. Like I want to be both. I don't want to, because being hungry and a little bit dissatisfied is what drives you. You know what I mean? But I am grateful. I mean, I'm grateful every morning I get up. I'm grateful for all the things I have. but I don't want to be so grateful that I'm complacent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to get to 5 million. I want to get to 10 million. And the problem is, that I'm bumping up against is you realize, so I do home inspections, right? Which is primarily the real estate transaction when someone's buying a house. There's only so many house sales in Charlotte. I have a $500 to $700 product, and I have a lot of competition, and I mean, I'm you know try to knock it out of the park, doing a great job and marketing and all that. But we have about 10 to 15% of the market, and it's really hard to get more than that. So what I'm coming to the realization is, all right, if I want to get to that 5 million or that 10 million, I'm going to either have to branch out into other markets, Greensboro, Raleigh, or I'm going to have to take on other, like start getting into pest control or something like that, because there's only, I believe in abundance and all that, but I'm also realistic. There's only so many house sales in Charlotte, and to, you got to figure it out, like you said, to figure out, if I want to get to this number, how do I get there? And what got me here won't get me there, type sort of thing. And
That,
you alluded to this earlier. I mean, as you grow, I mean, in the beginning, right? If you're an entrepreneur, I'm assuming your audience is mostly entrepreneurs.
hmm
You became an entrepreneur because you thought you could do something better, or you could satisfy a need than is currently being done. So in the beginning, you're doing everything. You're head cook, bottle washer. I
Wear
did the
many hats.
inspection. Yeah, I did the marketing and all that. But as you grow, you've got to start firing yourself from
hmm
each one of those things. And that's hard to do, because, it's like, wait a minute, I did this because I thought I could do it better. And there's a lot of sticking points, because you hate to hire somebody, for something that you feel like you could do better. But the reality is, if somebody can, if you can hire someone for a, 20% or 50% of your income to get 100% of your time back, you should do that all day long, as many times as you can. Um, but it's hard to let go of certain things.
Oh,
For
hold up,
me,
hold up. You just said let go, let go. How many people on here today have such a difficulty of letting go? This is probably one of the biggest coaching problems I have with people, the biggest challenges of letting go. I don't want to have a transaction coordinator, Brock. I want to do all the paperwork. They might screw it up. I don't want to do this, Brock. I want to do this. I got to do my own posting, Brock, because it's a certain blah, blah, blah. Like, stop it. Like, stop. If you can't let it go, you were always going to be in that hamster wheel. So I thought what you said, those words, let it go. You have to grow on that. And you need to talk to people who let it go. And I've had to let it go. I've had to let people always say, like, Brock, how do you do all this? I had a great conversation with this girl, Jackie Spain. She's like, how do you do all this? I was like, well, I have 5 virtual assistants that work with me full time. We went from 50-hour a week to 260-hour a week. Well, it doesn't
wow.
happen overnight. But you gotta let it go. I can't do everything. And to be honest with you, as you get older, Preston, do you really want to do everything?
No, no. And you can't scale yourself. You know what I mean? There's only so many hours in the day, so much, and you only have so much allotted energy per day. If you think about it, you only have a certain amount of energy. And, what are you, eventually you want to fire yourself from all the things that you're not good at first. Those are the first candidates.
Mhm.
And then get it down to the thing that you're best at. If you could just do the thing that you're best at all day, and you have virtual assistants, or you hire people to do all the things. I mean, quite frankly, I mean, I'm good at marketing, and I'm a decent inspector, but I'm really good at marketing. But I'm not good at, accounting. I'm
Yeah.
not good at spreadsheets and all that, and I'm not good at, but I've got people that are really good at that. And that's what you got to do. I mean, you got to fire yourself from each thing. And one thing I say is, as you grow, each level there's a new devil.
I like
There's
that.
some
Say
new
that again.
challenge.
Say that
At,
again.
at,
I like that.
at each level there's a new devil that you got to fight.
Yeah, I like that. Each
Um,
level.
and scaling is one of the biggest things because you started out because you were really good at marketing, you were really doing good at inspections, and I'm sure if you're a real estate person, you're doing it all. You're doing the buying, I mean, you're representing the buyers, you're representing the sellers, you're doing your own transaction coordinating and all that. But eventually you're like, all right, I'm working and I'm growing, but I've got to hire somebody to free up some of my time and scale. You can't scale yourself. You've got to start hiring people, and you got to start firing yourself is the biggest
So
thing.
true. No, it's so true. Now let me ask you this question because I know there's many people on here right now. Okay. I talked about it yesterday on my team coaching about how you can make more money. Okay. Put a nine in the chat. Put a nine in the chat or a dollar sign. Wow, I'm pulling out a dollar sign. What is that even on my keyboard? Shift four. Shift four. I said shift. I said shift, Christian. I said shift. Shift four if you want to make more money. Shift four if you want to make more money in 2025. Just put it in the chat. Put a shift four if you want to make more money. So we can just make sure that we're all talking to people who are hungry. Because, like Preston, I'm hungry. I get up hungry every single day. Even though I might be full at the end of the day, I was like, I'm hungry. I'm hungry again. We have 4 closings today. Guess what? I'm going to be hungry on Saturday to call some more deals. I'm always hungry trying to find that next deal. So, as you say this, Preston, because I know I'm speaking to somebody right now. So yesterday, I was just like, well, how are you going to make more money? Well, I could do more sales. Okay, that sounds great and everything. What is your monthly sale count? What are you at? Okay, first you got to know your numbers. So I know you're like me. You're a D and an I on the disc. It's like I know my numbers, but I really don't want to stay in that lane too long. Just tell me what I need, and if I have to make some financial decisions, I will. But I really don't want to. I don't want to go swimming in the spreadsheets. So as you're trying to go through this process, I said, well, you can either do more transactions or you can do a higher sale price. You can increase your sale price. Instead of doing $300,000 deals, do $1 million deal. So that's a way for you to make more money, increase your sales. You can be like John Hart. Instead of dealing with $1 million people, you deal with 10, 20, 30, $50 million clients that you got. You increase your your sale price. You said to us in the beginning, you're trying to figure out how to, you feel like you're at a ceiling. I own 10 to 15% of the market share. Some of you on here, you all told me you want to make more money. You're all like, I want to make more money. I want to make more money. So my question to you all right here is the how. How are you going to do? What is your plan? Now, you mentioned, Preston, you're like, well, maybe I got to go outside Charlotte area. 2023 and 2024 are our historic low transactions. Okay, you only have so many home sales. So Preston can't go and knock on a neighbor's house and be like, hey, I know you're not selling your house, but could I do a home inspection? Like those people are not on your radar. You are not going to reach out to them. So you really only have an audience of real estate agents. And then really you're not going to go to a real estate agent that's not doing any sales. So they're not really an audience for you. So really the only audience you have are procuring agents who are doing business. But I want to explore and share with people your mindset of what you're figuring out. Like, I want to grow my business. I want to do 5 million. I'm at 3.8 million. I want to do 5 million. I don't know. Maybe you want to do 8 million, whatever that looks like. Walk us through a successful person like you. How are you trying to figure that out? Like, what are you doing to figure that out? So maybe it gives somebody a trigger to think outside the box. What are you doing?
Well, you're working it backwards, right? You're big, what do they call that? A BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal, right? But, everybody on this call, write down what how much do you want to make next year? Or, I hate to just put it in terms of money. I mean, there's a lot more in life than just money, but let's face it,
It helps pay the bills. It helps pay the
yeah, it
bills.
does pay the bills. And, all right. So work it backwards. What has to happen? What does that look like? What would that take to get there? And, our traditional response is, well, let's work harder. Let's go work harder. And yeah, okay, go sell a couple more houses or something. But two things are happening. Like I said, you only have so much bandwidth, you only have so much energy, and you're starting to use that up. And there's going to be a ceiling. If you have a BHAG that's way up there, you know, like me just selling more houses isn't really going to get me to where I want to do that. Just me personally.
Yep.
And it's like you said, Brock. I mean, if I'm a real estate agent, I'm like, if you know, my BHAG is this amount of money, you know, for one agent to do that by themselves, they would work themselves to death, and you know, it would come at the expense of their family life and everything else. But it can be done to get to that amount of money. So, but what do we have to do? Maybe it's a transaction coordinator first. Maybe it's you know, I gotta get some you just said it, virtual assistants. Virtual assistants are great. I dealt with your virtual assistant getting this all set up. You know, you didn't have to do all the, you know, the fine tuning. That frees you up to do the things that create, you know, lead generation, whatever it is that you're good at, that moves the needle the most, and you start hiring somebody. So I guess my answer to you is work it backwards. You know, just like those you remember the books, like people, you know, like crossword puzzles and stuff. You remember the maze? You remember like you start here and you wind up
Mm.
over here. I always worked it backwards. I always went to the finish line and worked it back. It was so much easier
Oh,
to do it that way. And I know a teacher said one time, that's cheating. And I'm like, well, there's no rule against that. I mean, I've never seen it said you can't do that. And it was just so much easier. But I think in business, it's the same thing. Figure out where you want to be, and then just logically take your emotion out of this. All right, to get to that, what logically, how do we work that backwards? You know what I mean? And can
mm.
I expand on something about logic too? I'm reading a book right now called Clear Thinking. Shane Parrish is the guy's written it, and it's really good. And it's Clear Thinking, and it's thinking logically about things, and taking your emotions out of it. You know, we evolved over the centuries, you know, to you know, there's a couple of things to survive, you know, caveman times or cavewoman times or whatever. It was, you know, protect your territory. You want to stay in groups, you know, because it was easier to survive in groups, you know. And there's still a lot of that in our mindset. You know, when somebody says something online that you want to react to, you know, that's that primal thing. But some of that stuff that we survived on doesn't serve us well in business. And you got to be able to recognize it. You know, when somebody, you know, take your ego and your temper out of everything, and think logically. Just think logically. Don't react emotionally to anything. That, you know, and people are going to say things that are going to tick you off. But just, you know, don't respond emotionally. You know, think clearly, calm down. You know, they didn't physically hurt me. I'm not bleeding. You know, if it's
Mm.
not bleeding or burning, it doesn't demand an emotional response from me. It let me think of a logical response. Sorry, I got off the rail there. Squirrel.
No, no, I mean, it's so true. I mean, one is, damn, I never even, guys, I'm not even making this stuff. I've never ever once thought about doing the maze, starting from the finish line backwards. Like that to me was like a huge aha. Like, I mean, I think about it sometimes in business, but not as a actually not crossword puzzle, but like the maze. Like that is so true. And a lot of people on Facebook here are sharing that too. Like Lisa Galloway, have the end in mind. You know, Derek talks about writing your obituary. What is your obituary going to say? Write your obituary for what you want to be known for. What my biggest thing that I've been working on is my legacy. What am I going to leave behind with my kids? What are people going to know? If I was to die today, would this show still continue? Would somebody still carry this show on today in being able to pour into other people? And so I really like that concept of the end in mind. And it means differently for every one of us that are on here. But if it moves the needle, like you said, Preston, it pushes you forward. I wrote down this because many people do this. Like the answer used to be when I was a school teacher, just work harder, Brock. Just work harder. Take more classes. Coach another activity. Do weekend activities. And I did that. I coached baseball. I coached football. I was in the AAU. I worked the games on the weekend. I did all this stuff, and then I got married, and it didn't really work out that well. I'm like, well, damn, spend time with her, but now I'm not working. And so like the work harder concept really wasn't there. And so I really, really love the line, work smarter, not harder. Hard work is there. Yes, it's a necessity. But you also have to work smarter when it comes time for doing things, when it comes time for growing. Like I think balance is something really, really important. If you want balance in your life, write balance in the chat. Write balance down in your chat. If that's really like really that's what I thrive for anymore, strive for anymore is balance. Being able to have my kids. Like they've been out quite a bit this week. I mean, you all heard my my schedule this week. But you know what? I had a conversation in my ex-wife, their mother is like, well, I can't. I have this. I got to do this. I can't do what you do, Brock. And like I keep the conversation clean. I'm like, what do you think? My life's just a flexible freedom over here. It's just like I got all the time in the world. But sometimes I look at it and I said, I'm blessed that I do. I do have the flexibility to be able. I work from home now. At first, I didn't like working from home, but now I love working. I've been working from home for 2 years, so it allows me to be able to have this time with my kids. I'll take a half day today. I got a couple phone calls I'll make with some people, but they already know I got my kids. So I really loved your line, Preston, on working smarter, not harder. Think clear or clear thinking. I'm going to get that book. Jay, if Jay or Rika, if you guys can find that link, let's get it on the Amazon dashboard because I love new books. Um, as we conclude, Preston, it's 8:43 here in 7:43 Central Time. Alaska time, it's 4:43 because we got people all the way from Alaska.
Awesome.
Preston, what is it that you would like to leave us with? Your second time on here, everything that you've been going through, kind of today was a lot about the mindset, you figuring out how to grow because we all want to continue to grow. What's the one thing you'd like to leave us with today?
Well, when things get hard or things get tough, and they will, no matter how clear you're thinking or how you're trying to scale, just think to yourself, this is where average people get stop. You always think that. I mean, I know. Let me just quickly say this. When I got out of college, there was a recession, and I became a professional test taker because I didn't know if I wanted to go to get my MBA. I took the GRE, I took the GMAT, I took all these. Anyway, I took these test courses on how to take a test. And one thing that I learned was one of the big principles is they design these tests so that you'll get an average score, right? There's a third easy questions, there's a third kind of medium questions, and there's a third hard questions. And one of the tricks to beating the test is figuring out, like, all right, this is the one that would get an average person hung up, and which ones are the easy ones. So I've taken that into life too, where, you know, I mean, you talk about, I'm not, I mean, I hate to say like a competition, or I love everybody, and everybody, I don't care who you are. I'm not, but if you want more in your life, you've got to figure out, this was designed to keep me average. This is where I have to excel, because this is where the average people get hung up. And I don't mean that to disparage anybody who's working. I admire them. I'm not looking down on anybody, but if you want more, you've got to realize it's hard right now, but this is designed to keep the average people stuck here. You've got to, like, this is where the average people stop. But I'm not average. I don't want an average life. I want better for myself. I want better for my family. So this is where I'm going to go. I'm going to make that another call. I'm going to make that last sales call. I'm going to do whatever, because average people stop here. Anyway, I'm sorry I went on.
No, it's so true. I mean, Ed Milet, the power of one more. Doing one. Listen, you know how many times I wake up at 4:40 in the morning? I'm like, damn, this is the last thing I want to do. It's been freaking cold out this week, all. It is just bone darn right cold in the teens.
See, average people wouldn't go out.
That's what I say. I say, Brock, you're above average. I basically say, get your ass out of bed. Let's go. Get you're above average. Let's go. Average people stay underneath these covers. And so like I relate to that very well because I want to be above average. I want to be able to take my business, my family, my lifestyle to the next level. And so, um, guys, we put Preston's information all on here. Now, guys, I'm gonna do something a little different because it's the second time. How about we're gonna do something a little different? Preston has no idea what I'm about to do because I'm about to call out Preston and I'm about to tell him this. Preston, I'm gonna challenge you. Okay, Derek let the cat out of the
Okay.
bag yesterday, and I'm gonna make the official announcement. So I did all my events, Preston. They have all been in Charlotte. I've always asked you to do an event in Charlotte. I've never gone anywhere
Right.
else.
Right.
So this event that we just did was one of our most successful events that we had. And I too want to grow events and grow. And so we are the first time going outside of our market and we are doing our success summit. Thank you to Robin in Key West, Florida this
Oh,
July.
wow.
So we are taking it on the road and we are going to either fail forward or just fail completely. But I know we're going to fail forward and we're going to do it. And so our event is going to be in July. You guys will all know the date very soon, but we're going to be in Key West, Florida for our first national summit that I've ever put on. So my challenge to you, Preston, is this. I want you to grow your business outside of Charlotte. I think you're a phenomenal home inspector. I think you guys provide a lot of value. And I'm going to challenge you all. Guys, give some love. Put some fives in the chat right now that you want to hold Preston accountable, that we will
Uh-oh.
follow you, Preston. And I'm going to hold you to it. That I'm going to start having the people that come on second, that we're going to keep them accountable. And that you are going to find a different state. I want you to find two different states to do home inspections. And I want you to go outside of Charlotte in South Carolina. All right, all?
I love it. I love accountability because the thing about that and being in a group like this, if you say or somebody, if you come back on there and you haven't done it, or at least nobody likes to be, I mean, it forces you to go above average.
Yep. You said it right there. So above average is going to a different state and doing something different. And I know you can do it. So I appreciate y'all. A lot of where are the fives in Zoom? I got a lot of fives over in Facebook world. Everybody's very active in Facebook world. Very active in Facebook. Preston, go back to the Facebook group. You get the recording. We will send the recording to you as well. Appreciate you being on here. We got all his information out here, guys. His company, his business. Maybe you just want to talk to Preston. Be like, hey, man, I want to dive a little bit deeper into you. I'm going through some challenges as well, growth, earning market share, want to become scalable. Use Preston as a resource. All he's a phenomenal human being, a great dad, a great father. Hats off to you all. It is 8:49. Preston, brother, I appreciate you being on here, man.
Thanks for having me and appreciate it.
You bet, brother. Guys, have a phenomenal weekend. Stay warm wherever you are. Down those all down in the south, they got the snow on the beaches. It's great seeing all those pictures. People across, whatever, skiing on the beaches, cross country skiing. It's fun to see the snow on the beaches. Soon we will be on the beaches in Key West, Florida. I said it all here first, guys. We will be doing Key West, Florida, our next success summit. I'm so excited. Stay tuned for some more information about that. Thank you, Robin, for allowing us this opportunity in Key West. She's opened up her town, her city for that. So really, really excited about that. God bless you all. I'll be back Monday morning at 8:15 Eastern Time, Mondays with Maxwell, with me as your host. God bless you. Stay safe, stay warm. See ya.